We are talking to Taylor Bradford from the Gloucester Daily Times. Again, hi Taylor, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. How was Memorial Day weekend for you?
It was pretty great. Had a relaxing Saturday and Sunday, but went back to the office on Monday and was able to actually cover some quite exciting things here in the city. Although it was dreary and a bit humid, really quite exciting to see how the communities come together, even despite the global pandemic kind of impacting us in a lot of different ways.
So what did you see out there when you were walking the beach?
Yeah, so I wasn't actually necessarily walking the beaches on Monday. I was actually sitting in the office looking at a screen, but what I was able to see on that screen was actually a really well put together video, actually by 1623 and the Cape Ann Veterans Services, and they kind of collaborated together to create roughly a 30-minute compilation of both pre-recorded and past Memorial Day observance videos to commemorate those lives lost in the line of battle. And so that was streaming yesterday at 11 a.m. And so that was something that I was able to watch along with about 20 to 30 crew members who were viewing it during the premiere. But that thing was going all day long, and you could see people on Facebook and kind of on the website streaming. So really exciting to see how people are coming together and going virtual to commemorate those who have impacted the lives of not only our community, but those in our country. And so really cool to see that. And then in addition to that, right, there was 7,000 flags were put up in different cemeteries across Cape Ann. And people are keeping that socially distancing pace and distance, but also being able to just kind of honor those that they loved and that they miss. So while it was definitely dreary in terms of weather, it really was a day to remember as our community continues to collaborate and work together to just kind of create a stronger mold of community here in Gloucester and Cape Ann as a whole.
Yeah, I walked up to the cemetery in my neighborhood, the Locust Grove Cemetery, and I don't think I've ever seen it so active on a Memorial Day weekend. It was filled with people strolling and decorating graves and filled with flags. It was really a touching scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I also were able to visit a hair salon.
Yeah.
Right?
Salons are, back in action, and of course, I know a lot of people are staying away from going to salons. So while they are open, people are still kind of being mindful that they might have their family members do their hair just to kind of save money, but also kind of just create less of a risk for themselves and the hairdressers. But I was able to go to Carrie's salon in Gloucester and interview both Carrie and a client who had had her husband do her hair for the past 2 months and said, "That's it, they're opening, I am going to Carrie." And her husband had been dyeing her hair, and she said while he was doing a decent job, she was very excited to get back to Carrie and kind of get what needed to be done. And so they were just laughing, and you could see the relationship between a hairdresser and their clients is something that's really special. And I know that Carrie and her clients, Paula, are very excited to be back in the salon, although there are a lot of changes. So hairdressers aren't necessarily allowed to go back to completely normal. I was talking to Carrie a little bit more, Carrie Favaza, about what she might have to do to adjust to this new normal. And she says her normal work day before the pandemic started went from 9 to 8 p.m. And from 9 to 1 p.m. she would have about 6 clients. So she would go back to back to back, and sometimes she would even overlap clients while people are doing coloring, and she's doing quick cuts here and there. But now she's only allowed to have one client at a time. So she's do a thorough cleaning in between each client, and then she can let the other client come in. And so when she was able to do 6 clients from 9 to 1, and now it takes her from 9 to 7 p.m. to do 6 clients. So how that's going to impact them financially, you can kind of already tell it might make a substantial hit to them in the economy, but they do seem eager to be back at their booths and to kind of be back in action and cutting away. So it's definitely a developing story, and I think a lot of our businesses here in Cape Ann will start to see that while they're reopening doesn't necessarily mean they're going back to the normal they knew. So, but very exciting to see, and I know I'm looking forward to the day that I can go back to my hairdresser, actually in Magnolia, and get a few inches cut off of my own hair. So
it's the one thing about the hair care industry around here is it thrives no matter what. Is that it's an indestructible industry here too. And so I know a lot of people who own salons, and the one thing they've all mentioned is how gracious their clients have been throughout all this, and that they're tipping like crazy, like 50 to 100%. Like it's out of control. The tipping is because they just understand what everyone's going through. So that's been really cool to hear.
Mm. Yeah, it's very cool to hear. And it's cool to hear the end of the stories that develop. You hear people sit down in their salon chairs and the stories that they share between each other. You know, they're able to just tell these incredible stories, both of the times that they've kind of suffered during the pandemic, and kind of just this mutual understanding, like you said, Corey, just people understand each other and are longing for that connection in any way that they can. And it's pretty beautiful to see. Yeah, really, really cool to see. And I wonder what other small businesses like hairdressers, I have yet to go to a barber shop, so I'm interested to see kind of what's it like there, but who knows?
Right, the barber shops and then the nail salons and then everything else, so, yeah.
It's a very touching point, though, about the allegiance and that relationship and how many hearts will get spilled to their hairdressers about what's been going on for the past 2 months. It's very interesting. And I'm sure they'll make it to their hair salons before they make it to a therapist.
Or bartender.
Right.
Right.
So what else do you have going on this week, Taylor?
Yeah, so I had a really unique opportunity, something that I've been trying to kind of collaborate for a while now. Was able to come together at the end of last week. I was able to speak with 5 seniors from Gloucester High School, just to kind of about their time that they've experienced over the course of the pandemic, but also kind of what they've been doing as leaders within their high school. So I was able to speak with Lily Allen, Willow Phoenix, Emma Saputo, Gracie O'Toole, and Catherine Bevins, and these women are all part of the student council. And so for the past 4 years in different roles, they've been working to raise money for their prom and for kind of the senior events that were going to be happening that no longer are. So we talked a little bit about how they've had to transition and pivot and find ways in which to use that money, knowing that the prom might happen and knowing that graduation might look a little bit different. So the 5 of them have been working alongside the administration about their peers to really see how they can make senior year the year that they had hoped for, or something that looks a little bit like it. So they talk about, it's definitely hard because they're doing this on top of their classes. They're having constant communication from parents and students kind of voicing their opinions. And so just hearing from them that, at the end of the day, they said, I believe Emma said, no one will forget our senior class. And I said, that is for sure. And they're really talking just a lot about how miss this time as they're going into their next phases, whether that's college or something else, that, never take for granted the things that you have in the moment, because you never know when a pandemic might hit. And one of them said that to me, and I think it really hit a chord, because you really think about that these students they're going through huge changes already, just transitioning. So we have a video of that up on our website, and a little bit of a little story just about their time together and the community that they have built over the past 4 years. But so that is definitely something that I've been working on, that is now published on our website. Then I'm also looking at whale watching. It's so nice out. And I was thinking, man, it'd be so great to go whale watching. So cool to be able to go see the beautiful marine life here on Cape Ann, but also realizing that a lot of things aren't running because of the regulations put in place, and whale watches actually aren't allowed to reopen until phase 3 of Governor Baker's reopening phase plan. And so looking at what they can do, they are trying to find means, but I'm working on a story right now just on how the whale watching industry is adapting to this and how financially they're trying to make ends meet, although it is finding to be a little bit more difficult than they had anticipated.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough industry to bring back. And charter fishing, too, is probably in the same sort of category. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because right now it's only you can only bring 6 passengers on board, because then you have your crew as well. So trying to figure out, the small boats might have a little bit of an easier time, but those bigger boats, you just can't. You'd have to raise the prices super high to be able to cover the costs of bringing a boat out into the water for like 4 hours at least. So.
Right. Well, great stories this week, and we look forward to the whale watching one. That will be a really interesting thing to follow. So get out there in the sunshine, Taylor.
Well, you guys as well. Enjoy
SPF 500, Taylor.
Sorry?
SPF 500.
Oh yeah. Oh, I actually have 100 SPF all ready to go. So.
I've already peeled twice.
All right, I'll see you guys out on the streets.
Thank you, Taylor. Bye.